Hmm. I already have some people tuning in. That's great. Okay, today is Wednesday, October 22nd. Welcome to Let's Talk Immigration. So, today, what are we going to do? We're going to talk immigration. Um, First of all, Sammy wrote a question early and it's been there a while, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of it. Hello, Curtis. When your DV 2026 lawsuit be officially open, I'm sure enough people were interested and already registered. That is true that we do have a lot of people that have signed up on the DV 2026 lawsuit interest list. We are not ready to move forward with that lawsuit yet. The interest list has a lot of people, but not quite as many as we want, and also a lot of the people are far away from being impacted. Like cases aren't current in the visa bulletin yet situation. So we do plan to move forward with that lawsuit eventually. Just if you're DV 2026 and you're interested in impacted by the travel ban, please go to our website, redeagolaw.com, and go to interest list and sign up, register on the interest list, and we will notify you when we have the critical number of plaintiffs we need to move forward with that lawsuit. Okay. Newton says, hi, sir. Hi, how are you? Okay. So I've got a few things to talk about today. First, you know what I would really like to talk about? I'd like to talk about visa statistics because it would give us a lot of insight into how the travel ban is being implemented and the impact. But I can't. You know why I can't? Because the State Department, under Secretary Marco Rubio, has stopped producing and releasing visa issuance statistics. The most recent visa issuance statistics are from May 2025. It is October. Okay, it is normal for it to be 1 month behind. This is crazy. It's like the least transparent administration in the history of the United States. If you're with the State Department, know that I'm going to sue you about this. I just haven't had time yet. Okay. Next thing. One of our lawsuits was in the news, kind of high profile in the Washington Post. A story by David Oval. Travel ban separates Cuban families, divides community loyal to Trump. And I was quoted in this, and I kind of want to clarify my quote. Let me see here. So they talk about our lawsuit. They don't name it, but it's Meraji versus Trump in the Central District of California. This is a lawsuit we filed in Los Angeles by family preference categories that were denied family visas or will be denied family visas because of the travel ban. So we've asked the judge to set aside the travel ban. Now, that lawsuit is ongoing, and we are in the process of filing another lawsuit, a lot like that one, maybe today or tomorrow in the Northern District of California. Okay. So one thing I said was I communicated with many Cuban families in similar situations, but no one wanted to join the lawsuit. I expected a lot of Cubans to participate in this lawsuit. I've talked to probably more than 100. And at the end of the day, they were like, no, we don't want to sue Trump. I need to tell you all, having spent the first Trump administration challenging his bans, and so far it's spending the Biden administration challenging the impacts of his bans, I need to tell you all, he's not going to change his mind and be pro-immigrant. That's not going to happen. Okay. Trump probably isn't even controlling right now. It's Stephen Miller. He's just deferring to him. And Stephen Miller is a monster. So if you're standing by and not choosing litigation because you expect Trump's going to all of a sudden in his 80th year or something decide that he's pro-immigrant, I just don't think that that's going to happen. Okay. But it's a really compelling story. Good article. What else do I have here? I always State Department and of these updates last day, I think. Basically, they've updated the guidance for how, they've got new rules that they only interview these applicants in their home countries. And then if there's no embassy in the home country, then they've got certain embassies. Well, they did that about a month ago, and they've updated it because people who are resident, these applicants who are resident, so now need to go to loan. What else do I have to talk about? Okay, I had a victory early this morning. Litigation fame, right? He issued an order. Yeah. The browser cannot access my window. I'm trying to share a window. He issued an order denying the government's motion to dismiss and an EB2AP lawsuit that is technical difficulties. We're not going to be able to share the order, but basically, for those that follow the law, there's this case called Karamova, which is really bad because it stands for the proposition that the government doesn't have a duty after the 221G refusal. Judge Mehta rejects the broad interpretation of that order, and also he rejects the State Department's broad interpretation of consular non-reviewability to that doctrine to mean that decision 221G decisions lawsuit, that you can still look behind what's happening, how long the delay is. So Judge Mehta denied the government's motion to dismiss. We like that to happen because when that happens, the next stage of the lawsuit, discovery, summary judgment, the government doesn't want to deal with that stuff. They would rather accelerate final decision in the case. So that's what we're caveat. There's a court right now because the government shutdown. Courts are being flexible with this, but the District Court of Columbia is. So there may be a delay in that litigation related to this. Okay, so I've talked about all the things on my browser, and I've talked about that order that I couldn't share. And I've got a question over here. Since it is well documented that women in Iran are prosecuted, I think you meant persecuted, is it possible to add Iranian women in the exception list along with religion, ethnic minority? Well, the president of the United States could definitely do that. No one else can do it. So if it's possible, yes, lobby the president of the United States. You may or may not know this, but he's not interested in your point of view. He's not listening to the point of view of the American people. Okay, so if you're outside the U.S., he's even less interested. So anyway, that's what I have to say to that. Yes, that could be an exception, but no, it's not. And the only person that can change it is the president. Okay. Sabona says, how are you? Sabona, I am stressed. Okay. Things are a little crazy over here in the USA. But we're getting by. We're fighting for our immigrant families, and we'll continue doing that as long as we can, as long as we have the lights on. So thanks for asking. Okay, that appears to be all the questions we have today. One thing I wanted to mention, I sent out this tip on Telegram earlier today. A lot of you out there are thinking it's cool to use ChatGPT as your lawyer. In other words, you go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I committed this crime, or I committed this crime several times, or I did this thing. And is it okay since I did this thing? Can I do that thing? And will I get away with this? Da, 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 da. And ChatGPT will give you answers that are sometimes helpful, sometimes not helpful, just like a normal lawyer. One important distinction that I think everyone's missing, and I saw someone share this on TikTok. It's not my idea, but I saw him, and he's absolutely right. You do not have attorney-client privilege when you're talking to your robot computer, ChatGPT. So everything you're typing is data, and it's discoverable in your criminal prosecution. So if the United States government decides to arrest you and charge you with a crime and send a subpoena to ChatGPT, to Google, to whoever, the AI service that you will use, they will discover exactly every single keystroke that you made and every single confession that you made. Like, where's the best place to bury a body? Well, guess what? That's going to be an exhibit in your prosecution that you ask ChatGPT where the best place to bury a body is, and that's not going to be good evidence for you. Okay, that's one application, but also it would be naive to think that the United States government and other governments that have relationships with these AI service providers are not going to access that same data for national security reasons. In other words, you apply for a visa to the United States from Iran, from wherever. Do not be surprised if the United States is finding out information about you from what you asked ChatGPT. That's not great, okay? So this is not about like, oh no, what's going to happen to lawyers? Because I would love to own a donut shop, make donuts. I think I would be better at that, maybe. I'd have more fun. Don't worry about me. I'm worried about you trusting a computer, a program, to be your lawyer when you do not have attorney-client privilege, and that information that you share can be used against you in the very issue and proceeding that you're worried about. Okay? So just be careful. Don't compromise yourself. Okay. Oh, wow. I've got a bunch of questions. And the back room has decided this is the question that we're going with. B1, B2, tourist visa applicant from one of the banned countries is scheduled for an interview in Canada. Are you planning to launch a group lawsuit for these type of applicants in the future? No, you just need to accept that you're not entering the U.S. while Trump is president. That's not my lawsuit. While there's separated families, I'm really not going to focus on tourists. That's where I come down on that. Okay. Any idea when December visa bulletin will be out? No, I do not know that. I did notice earlier, though, that it was not out yet, and because I checked. So you've got the November for now. You did mention some people that were represented something about mandates, ChatGPT. How did that work out? I think what you're talking about, I'm not sure, is we filed a lawsuit a few months ago challenging decision that USCIS made because we believe that decision was made by AI because the decision just didn't even look right. Litigation's still ongoing, hasn't gone anywhere yet. Litigation doesn't always go as fast as we want it to. Okay. So I've caught up on questions and I've covered everything that I wanted to cover today. Is that true? That is true. One more thing. I've attended 2 USCIS interviews this week. And I just want to point out that Ready Go Law, we do that, and we do it in multiple cities because we have attorneys located across the country. So if you need representation at your interview, let us know. We'll give you a price. If you think you don't need representation at the interview, I don't think you understand what is happening in this country right now, and you do not understand the consequences of having a USCIS interview go wrong. A lot is at stake with your immigration journey. Do not take risk just to save a little bit of money. And okay, that's all. So I'm going to wrap up today, and then I will see you next Wednesday. What is going on? I have a status conference in Chicago next Wednesday. Maybe that will be canceled. I will see you next Wednesday, the 29th. Everybody take care of yourselves. Bye.